Hello, you guys. It's been a very long time. I apologize for looking this way, but I've been off for 3 days. I go back to work tomorrow, and so it's just kind of lazy. But I'm here to give a much needed update. A lot has changed, and so I have my little journal here that was given to me as a gift for my birthday that I wrote in, and I'm now going to pretty much summarize for this video because it covers everything. So the last time I think I made a video, I was talking about being on phentermine. Needless to say, that did not work. I started having problems putting my own socks on. Take these off. Putting my own socks on. So I decided I needed to do something with my life. So on November 14th of 2015, I went to a bariatric surgery seminar in where I live, just to get some information, and decided to proceed with that. I weighed in at 330 pounds the day of that appointment. The seminar was free. There was a big packet I needed to fill out with my, weight loss history, my medical history, things like that. Since I didn't go see doctors consistently every year, I had to submit photographs showing my weight for the past 5 years, things like that. So there was a lot of paperwork. I decided to proceed with that. So on December 1st of 2015, I met with a registered nurse at the Healthy Living YMCA to go over insurance requirements and make an official decision on whether or not I wanted to have surgery and what type of surgery, because bariatric surgery consists of, you have like 3 or 4 different surgery options you can choose from. This appointment was considered to be module 1. So I also got this binder when I decided that I wanted the gastric sleeve. So this I have to take to every single appointment. It just contains a whole bunch of information in there that I may go over later. It's just information. So they also took my before photo, as well as my measurements. My weight at this appointment was 324.4 pounds, and my BMI was at 50.8. I don't know if I'm going to go over what my measurements were that day, but I'll probably put them down below. On December 7th of 2015, I had my first of 6 insurance-required diet and exercise counseling with a dietitian. At each appointment, I had to create 3 goals, and to be perfectly honest, I was horrible at sticking to the goals. They were mostly getting enough protein, because you have to have at least 60 grams of protein a day, drinking enough water, because you have to have at least 64 ounces of water a day. And then it also was some type of exercise plan for that month. Like I said, I was absolutely horrible at sticking to those goals. Sorry, I keep looking over there. Like I said, I'm reading from my notes here. On January 4th of this year, 2016, I had my second counseling session. And we chose those goals again. On January 28th of this year, 2016, I had what's referred to as Module 3, which is a pre-op diet and exercise class. We basically went over what vitamins and nutrients you have to take after the surgery, the timeline of them, because for a certain amount of time they have to be chewable or crushable, as well as, what your food restrictions are before surgery as well as after surgery, and some exercise ideas for you to do. On February 1st, 2016, I had my 3rd counseling session and created goals at that time as well. Each month the goals changed. On March 7th, 2016, I had my 4th counseling session. I will probably list my weights and BMI down below for each appointment as well. It was a pretty steady loss. I think towards the end I gained like 1 pound or something like that from the month before. And created goals for that again. On March 24th of 2016, I had what's considered to be module 2, which consisted of meeting my surgeon, the doctor that will be performing the surgery, obviously. My support partner, who happens to be my boyfriend, had to attend this appointment. This is the only appointment that it was a must-have that they had to do. The surgeon went over, the surgery process, the healing process. He also answered all of our questions. It was a lot of information all at once. I left, having those questions answered, but also feeling slightly overwhelmed because it was so much information. Even though a lot of the information was already in my binder, it was a lot of information. Pretty much, the gist of it is, he said we do surgeries on Tuesdays, you're released from the hospital on Thursdays, and then depending on your lifestyle afterwards, some people go back to work that following Monday, some people need to take off a full 3 weeks before they can go back to work, but you're pretty much healed when you go home. It's just, you're up and walking before you go home. It's just a matter of getting used to, sometimes there's still some pain at the surgery site, and getting used to being so tired, and of course you're still on food restrictions during that time, so a lot of questions at that time. I also had to pay half of the program fee. The program fee itself was $300. This does not count the appointments. Each appointment obviously costs money. It's considered, I believe it's considered an outpatient appointment, so I feel like the appointments are probably more money than usual. And then the program fee itself was $300, and I had to pay half of it at that appointment as well. On April 4th, I had my 5th counseling session. On April 28th, I had my insurance-required chest x-ray, EKG, and lab work done. This was done with my primary care physician at a totally different clinic. Everything came back good for that. On May 2nd of this year, I had my final counseling session. I'm kind of disappointed. This is the only paperwork that I seem to have misplaced. So what my final weigh-in at that appointment was, I have no idea. So that kind of upsets me. But moving on. On May 9th, I met with a psychiatric doctor to do the psychiatric clearance that's required for insurance. I kind of waited till the last minute. When they say don't wait till the last minute to do this, it's seriously don't wait till the last minute to do this. Every doctor locally either wasn't accepting new patients, or they were fully booked up for several months at a time, or they had several different things you had to do just to get in with them, like, calling multiple places for insurance and things like that. So I went with a doctor who had the soonest available appointment that happened to be like 45 minutes away. So that kind of was a little frustrating, but I got in and was seen. So that was on May 9th, my first of 2 appointments with them. I talked very briefly with a psychiatrist, asked about my life, my current situation, my mental health history, things like that, any medications I'm on. And then there were 2 kind of fill in the bubble tests. If I remember what they are, I will describe it down below. I even sent a text with how many questions there were. I mean, it was a long process. It took like 2 hours just to do the tests. And then I got to drive home and wait for the results. It took forever, I felt, to get the results, because this was like the last step before we could submit everything to insurance. And I was just waiting and waiting and waiting to hear back on whether or not I'd passed. And I was very nervous about this process because, as you all know, I have mental health issues. I'm on medication for that, so I really was unsure on if I would be recommended for the surgery or not. And of course, if the doctor does not recommend you for the surgery, you can, get a different opinion or anything like that. But this was like the final step, and I was so concerned that I was not going to pass this. But on June 29th, so guys, almost 2 months later, I had to wait, I got the results that I had passed. He said I was a perfect candidate for this, even despite my mental health issues and some current life stressors, if you will. He considered me to be a good candidate for that. I had to submit a while back a 30-day usage report for my CPAP usage. Since I have sleep apnea, I had to use it for at least 4.5 hours a night for 30 days. I had submitted that prior to that, which meant that it was actually time for us to submit everything to insurance for approval. On July 18th of this year, I received the approval letter that the surgery is eligible for coverage. Right here. They are going to cover the surgery. At the time, or for the time that I was wanting the surgery to be scheduled, they weren't scheduling for that month. It was too soon for that. So I had to wait. And just recently, it has been officially scheduled. My surgery is scheduled for October 18th. So there's a few more appointments before the surgery. On October 4th, I'm going to have Module 4, which covers a pre-op teaching class, and then I pay the other half of the program fee, the other $150. And then October 4th also marks the day when I start my 2-week pre-op liquid diet. On October 6th, I have my endoscopy done. My support partner, also my boyfriend, has to go along with me to that appointment because I'll obviously be sedated and will need a driver for that. On October 10th, I'm meeting with my primary care doctor to have my pre-op history and physical done. And then October 18th is my surgery. I should be, assuming everything goes well in recovery, should be going home on October 20th. And I have requested to be out on short-term disability through November 8th. It's not very likely I'll need to be out that long, but just in case, we are planning for that. I can get a release to work authorization form if needed before then. But I'm waiting to hear back from, I guess, the HR department at my work on whether or not that will be covered. I, of course, will have to get the paperwork to submit to my surgeon. I haven't even received that yet. So that's in the beginning process for that. So it's been a very long, process. Very long. It's cost roughly about $3,300 to do so far. The other half of the program fee, the cost of the appointment for Module 4, the cost of the appointment for the endoscopy, the cost of the appointment for my physical, and of course the surgery as well. And then there's 2 follow-up modules after the surgery, and who knows how many follow-up appointments as well. So, I mean, this is kind of an expensive process, but it's life-changing, and I'm so excited to finally, take my life back and do things that I've never done before. So it's been a very exciting process, a very long process. I'm starting to, finalize, getting the vitamins that I need for after the surgery. I'm starting to journal the process. My boyfriend gave me a photo album with photo prompts, of like the day of the surgery. I'm running my first marathon because I want to be a marathon runner. I have some amazing support. His family, my family, him. It's been a long journey. I'm very excited. The battery in my scale has gone out, so I have no idea what I weigh today. But it's been fun. And I plan on video journaling the process as much as I can. So I think the next time you're probably for sure going to see me, maybe the day of the surgery and recovery or sometime around then. So, but otherwise I will be, of course, journaling in here. So once I'm out of the anesthesia and the painkillers and more coherent, I'll probably just read out of there like I've done now. So again, I apologize for the appearance. I hope you all had an amazing Labor Day and are doing well. That's all for me for now. I'll see you in a few. Bye.